Hello, I'm Constandina from IND, and I want to present some stuff regarding identity chain project. First of all, why we need digital identity and why it's important and for who. First of all, for each individual, me and you, it's important to have a secure way to identify ourselves and provide this information to different service providers. For government, because they issue this digital identity, and they need to do it in an effective and efficient way and also secure. And of course for industries like financial services, because they have to comply with regulations, and they need to minimize their costs. The self-sovereign identity, for the self-sovereign identity, there's a definition provided by Christopher Allen. I'm not gonna read it, but it's here if you want to read it. And it has 10 principles, like control, transparency, portability, interoperability. In order to proceed with this project, we have, of course, some partners. TU Berlin, Deutsche Telekom, CWI are our partners, together with ING. And for this scenario, we have some actors. So we have the issuer. It can be an organization that issues claims. We have a prover, which is a user that obtains the claims and can also send these claims to a verifier. And the verifier, that again is an organization that verifies the claims that are issued by the issuer. And we have some entities, DID, decentralized identity, which is a unique key in the ledger. Claims that are objects, binary objects, that they have encrypted attributes. And a wallet, which is the key container, and it can be either stored in a web application or in a mobile application. In our case, an Android application. And
yes, I can explain that.
Arturo will explain the schema and take it from here.
So coming a bit more to the technical part of what we're building and what we're doing, like this is a bit of a high-level diagram with the different components. Like the first one that we're building, it's like a mobile application that is done by Deutsche Telekom. Then in order to communicate between different entities, between different actors in this INDY ledger manner, it's we need some kind of push notification for the mobiles, because mobiles don't have static IPs, they are not always like on the move. So we need the mobile application to register to some kind of, in this case, in our case, a Google Firebase cloud messaging, that is a push notification system provided by Google. And then we need some kind of a cloud agent that administers and pushes these messages to the cloud, to the Google Firebase cloud messaging, and then it's pushed after to the mobile. Then we have like an agent, like what this would be like static company, like a static nodes, and would be more like representing institutions, and if like for example, a government node would be part of this diagram, right? We would have like a node API or agent API that is managing all the incoming and pushing all these messages to like users. Then this node API is the one that has like a wallet, that is the INDY wallet, that contains all the proofs received by the users and the citizens. And then like we are building also admin UI portal that is to manage and help on creating like different structures for credentials, that is called a credential schema. And then on top of the credential schemas that INDY supports, we're building together with CWI like a schema compiler API that is just like providing a bit of a like more type safe schema structure, where we are adding and introducing types to INDY, because the attributes in INDY are just like strings right now. Then on top of that, we're showing and building also ourselves like examples of, like as I said, like a government legacy backend application together with a front desk application, a UI, that for example in the case of the government displays, as I'll show you in a moment, like the information of the citizens, and then you can allow the citizens to onboard, so connect using the mobile application with the government, create a connection, and then receive credentials like a passport credential. Later on, we have another example that it would be like the KVK or the Chamber of Commerce that would like request a proof of identity using that previously received credential, that is the passport credential. And then it would ask for some attributes, like if you're older than 18, so you will generate a zero knowledge range proof for that, like what is your VSN number and what is your name, basically. And then it will match that the introduced new company that you wanted to register matches with that information, and then it will allow and verify that and would allow you to request a claim or credential for that company. All these components, like it's what we're building, but we're leveraging and like using like a INDY Plenum BFT that would be the blockchain, but in the case of INDY it's not a blockchain, it's just a transaction chain, but it's still like a BFT, so it's all like completely decentralized, right? So for the demo, let me just see if I have to go through different places. So first of all, like this is all our projects. Like we've been working on the GitLab from TU Berlin for now. Now we're on the plan of migrating to GitHub. Like we started after agreeing all the parties and all the partners, we decided on which license we want to open source it, and now it's like moment that we're starting to put it open source together with the documentation. We just generated the documentation side that it will include all as a guide. Now it's just starting like examples for like us to see like how it would be all fitting there. So like in the coming weeks we will start like uploading and updating this documentation side, and then if we see the use case scenario that I was defining, like how do I go, this would be the front desk inside the Gemeente, so this would be somebody behind the desk, right? Then you would tell like, or hand out your passport, your physical passport, they would look for it, they would say, okay, this is your VSN number, this doesn't match that much. It says random generated user. Oh, let's find somebody that is not connected yet. Or perhaps that's in between. So we can see the whole thing. So now, like the person, the municipality officer, will double check that you are you. It will do like a visual check. Then it will say, okay, you're like Finn, and your surname is Han, you were born in this date. Just double check that all the information is still correct. And then it will click on board. This will generate a QR code that is like basically containing all the information for the mobile application to, let's check if I can show you also the mobile application. Nice, 1 sec, just disconnected with the time. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this is the mobile application here, identity chain, where we can see all our claims previously received. In the case of a new connection, we need to go to the QR scanner, and let me just do it like this. We will scan the QR code. Hopefully it will work. This is like demo. Nice.
Try one more time.
Yeah. Yeah. So it says now you have a connection with the Dutch government. This is the logo and this is the information, right? Then on the side here, it just like close the QR code and said, okay, now I have a connection. These are the DIDs to connect. So what we did now is we created a secure connection between point to point, between the government and the mobile. And we can offer credentials. We have a list here and you can see passport, version 9, that contains these attribute fields. So we will see like credential offer, that's Unix time, BSN, document number, and so on. So we can say send. And now the mobile application should receive like those credentials, and it will say like Dutch government is offering you some information. You click on more details. You can see exactly the values that like were like here. You can see them there, right? You can see that your PSN number is the same one, so you can verify that all the information is correct. And if everything is correct, you can say import. And now you will have this on the list, and you will have it on as a claim in your mobile application. Then later on, what we'll do is like you would go to the Chamber of Commerce, and you would say, I want to register a new company. I can call it, I don't know, this is just examples. The owner is, this is still not fully working, so like, I'll show you. So you would register a new company into the KVK, and then it would say like, yeah, this is for debugging purposes, this probably would not be shown for the public, but then you would say like, if it's verified or not, this company, right? In order to claim, or to claim this ownership of this company you just registered, the process is very similar, but now the first thing you do is to just create a new connection with the Chamber of Commerce. And it says like, yeah, this is the Chamber of Commerce, perfect. And now you say send proof request. And this proof request is like asking for you for like information, and it says like, yeah, you have this information. You can say select, but now it's up. Oh, this is it. Oh, that's nice. They just uploaded the changes. That's the first time I see it. That it works. So I'm not sure if it's gonna find a way to like the end of the use case, because the first time actually yesterday night they just uploaded to the App Store the new version, Deutsche Telekom, and yeah, I guess this was the changes. So until now, like what would happen is like that it's not happening right now. Maybe I need to refresh or something. Oh, I introduced like random data, so the proof is fake. So it's not notifying the user, but it's not linking it because it was fake. So I'll test it later, but now if it would be correct, then it would see that the ownership is verified, right? And instead of like sending a proof request for your identity, it would say, I want to receive those credentials for this information that I am the owner of this company. Later on, like you could combine these credentials, like the passport information, some subset of that passport information together with the company information, and then you could like combine it in a proof and send it to ING, and that's the last part of our use case scenario. And then ING would be able to verify that you are like a person with this information related to your passport, and that you are the owner of this company. Therefore, you can open a commercial account, exactly like an account, for example. And that's about it. If we want to see the admin portal that I said that we're INDY, or like Sovereign, like I don't know if it was explained, but INDY is just the open source. Yeah. So INDY is just the open source project that Sovereign is using for running their ledger. So Sovereign is a foundation, and they determine like a trust chain structure, and INDY would be just the technology. So Sovereign is an instance of INDY. And the tooling that is around, they're focusing a lot on the crypto, and the crypto is really cool, and like the whole thing is really good on the core, but the tooling around is not yet mature. So we're trying also to open source and to contribute with them. And one of the things we did, it was an INDY like ledger transaction visualizer to like track what's going on under the hood. And here you can see that it was a plain definition was submitted to the ledger, right? You can see the transactions also. This is the cryptographic primitives that are used, like these big numbers, for like creating all these proofs later on, or like in this case, the connections. And I'm running this locally because it's not yet on the cloud, but we're also working on this schema. Let me just. So we're working also on a site for like displaying all the schemas and also being able to see the information and details, modify them, and create new schemas like by adding the attributes and the types. And all this is like pointing to the schema endpoints of the node agent, and the node agent is leveraging this schema compiler and type checker from CWI that it's going to tell if the schema structure is valid one, and it will compose and generate all the low-level schemas that are the ones needed for being submitted to the ledger. So we're trying also to put all this together with also like a connection site listing. So we will see all the connections, all these things that we connected. So if we're on the government side, we will see all the connections we created with the citizens, and we will see exactly what the citizens shared with us and what did we like send to them. So that's all. Do you have any questions?
So, are you going to download it, Ronald?
Yeah, we'll download it and have a look. Yeah, definitely. So it's interesting that all these blockchain projects look the same. They have the same more or less look or feel, but it's about completely different things. So we have something similar for invoices now. We do more or less the same. Yeah, we don't do it with the QR code.